Okay, has anyone in this series not heard of knock before enter? Like, I think that's a common thing you should learn growing up as a kid. Especially someone like Hina, that's an adult, like she likes to say a lot, would know to, knock. Or at the very least, not just open a door even if it's not locked instantly. You should at the very least say, hey, anyone in there? Or, just say, like, I'm coming in or whatever. But no, she opened up the door and just sat there watching. I'm just like, really? I mean, yes, granted, it was Natsuo and Rui's fault for not locking the door. Fine. However, looking at the situation, it's not like when Natsuo went in there with Rui that, there was going to be a kiss scene. Like, it was never really the intention of the scene. It kind of came out of nowhere, so obviously that is the reason why the door never got locked. But it still doesn't change the fact that Hina walking in like that without even saying anything is just like, really? Because after the scene in the last episode with Hina leaving the door open and Natsuo just watching, I'm just like, this family really doesn't know how to just knock or, say anything when they open a door or whatever, or even how to properly close a door. Do you not know how to do this? I think that's a common thing you learn as a kid. But okay, anyways, let's get right into it. This episode felt like it's missing a few details. For some reason, seeing what happened in the last episode with Hina, and how she basically forced Natsuo to be done with her, like she rejected him. It's like, if you want to be with me, you basically got to end everything, and she was going out in the ocean, and then how the ending sequence was done, how their relationship was very complicated, to this episode where it did show some complications, and then at the end of the episode, they're just holding hands. I'm like, wait, what? Like, did he just forget about what she basically did to him, and what she said to him? Like, she legitimately called you a child at the beginning of the series, made you really evaluate yourself, think you're a kid. Then, she takes you out in the middle of the ocean, like, if you want to be with me, we gotta end it all right here. Just like, and then now they're holding hands at the end and all that, and they're confessing their feelings. I'm like, okay, like, this series really wants to make Hina the main love interest. I've noticed that. It's a big thing I've noticed since the beginning. There's been a lot of focus on Hina, which, granted, Natsuo has stated he loves her, and he wants to be with her. Fine. You love who you love. But the point is that the series really wants to focus on Hina, but then turns around and makes her so unlikable. And I don't care how many manga readers are upset with me saying that, okay? She can go for all her development in the future, fine. But at this time, for at the very least the anime, she's a very unlikable character. I don't care her confessing her feelings at the end and finally speaking like an adult. Let's not forget the fact of what forced her to even say those feelings in the first place. She legitimately had to be grabbed by a group of people and then forced to sit down and talk to Natsuo. An adult doesn't do that, and it really wanted to show in that scene she wasn't acting like an adult whatsoever. So you're not going to tell me that didn't happen. So she was forced to accept her feelings, not because Natsuo pestering her, but she had to be sat down like a freaking child to be talked to. Like, no. Then, on top of that, she's just like, she says what she said last week, and then now she's like all for his feelings in this episode. I'm like, oh my god. Like, I don't know why it's forcing us to try to like her, or at least me. I don't like Hina. I don't like her character. I don't care. It's not just because I'm on Team Rui. It's just, they're making her a very unlikable character. I mean, she's having an affair with this dude, Shu, and then on top of that, she's fine with it, but then she does what she did in the last episode towards the end with the door wide open, and Natsuo obviously watches, but she's saying the man's name. Then she turns around and is like, oh, I love you. I have feelings for you. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, that's the point I'm getting at, is Hina is not a logical character. She's not. She's realistic in some ways, not gonna lie, but she's not logical. She's not a good person to be with. And seeing how Natsuo is acting and how he's using Rui in this episode kind of upsets me in a way. I've praised Natsuo a lot. He's a very realistic MC, and he still is. I like him still as a character. But it's very obvious after this episode, he's using Rui as a rebound girl. Like, after his feelings got hurt and he's done with Sensei, or he thought he was done with Sensei, he went to Rui, the next best thing, to get with her. And, he didn't really love her, and he's really mixing up his feelings for love or lust, and that's kind of what's happening. And seeing his interaction with her in this episode, he's very mixed. Like, he doesn't know what he's feeling. He doesn't know how to really react, because, Rui's kind of done this to him, in a way. It's not just Hina, but it's also Rui, because, when we think about the beginning of the relationship, of how they even met, Rui's like, don't expect anything. It was nothing. Nothing between us, nothing at all. Basically throwed away their interactions between both of them, right at the beginning of the series. So, obviously, Natsuo would be conflicted. He's conflicted. Even though he's kind of aware that Rui has feelings for him, he's conflicted because Rui never really saw anything that intimate with her, or with him, at the beginning of the series. So that's kind of why he's acting like he is. So he has Hina pulling her crap, and then Rui, and how she is just very new to this type of thing, and what she said has really kind of misled Natsuo. Then, on top of that, the man is just conflicted because he has two girls that obviously he cares about, and he's getting closer and closer to Rui, but also Hina is his main focus of attention. It's a very interesting episode by the way it's depicted, because you're like, will Natsuo stop using Rui as a rebound girl and actually accept her feelings and say something about it? I do like the exchange of how when they were kissing, though, he did go right here. I can't say the words because, YouTube doesn't like it, but I like that scene, not because of the fan service, but it shows that he is very straightforward. He is doing what a normal person kind of would do in a situation like that. He was going forward with it, and also since they've already kind of went all the way in the first episode, then that's technically not too big of a leap, truth be told. So, yeah, seeing that, how Rui's like, I don't really necessarily dislike this, I'm like, whoa, so it's progressing and all that. Then Hina walks in, and I'm just like, which, by the way, I didn't mention it at the beginning of this video, but can we talk about how awkward that scene was? Like, I legitimately cringed up. Like, I had to pause my video, and I just had to be like, oh, like, I was just like, oh, like, I had to pause and turn my head away, and I was like, oh, it pained me, because it's something that could happen, and just seeing someone walking on you, just making out with someone, it's pretty embarrassing. It is. Like, it can be, and especially with the way it is. Like, the context of it, what Rui is to Natsuo, and then Hina as well, and their situation, I'm just like, that's some cringe, and I cringed up. Hopefully I'm not the only one that did that. Like, the way the silent part of that scene was done with, like, no music or anything, and it's just completely silent, it really made it cringy. Not in a bad way, just, like, it felt so real, and things like that could happen. I'm just like, oh, like, the context of it, it's a yikes for me. It's a big yikes. But, okay, anyways, let's talk about the new character introduced at the beginning of this episode. So, a new male character was introduced. That's pretty surprising because, typically it's been introducing female characters, so it's nice to see a male character introduced for the story, which has me wondering. With a new male character being introduced, it does mean that this could be a character to go with a female character, go out with a female character, because it does seem he's interested. For instance, he wanted to be introduced to Rui, so this is likely what could happen. Most likely, he might get with Rui if Natsuo does choose Hina, because that would mean that Rui isn't by herself without a boyfriend, or the dude's going to go after the other two female characters that were introduced before, the secondary characters that Natsuo rejected. Now, that would be interesting if that did happen, but I do wonder what role this new character is going to play as the series continues. Is he just going to be there to cause conflict for the sake of causing conflict, or is he actually going to be a buddy that backs up Natsuo when he needs help? Which, by the way, the beginning segment is very weird, and when I really think about it, it's not relatively that important besides the introduction of the character, because it's literally just stopping this criminal that's, stealing pantsuit. That's all it is. And I'm just like, does this scene really matter in the grand scheme of things? Of everything that happened with the episode? It just didn't seem to really fit the theme of what the episode was about, and I was just sitting there like, okay, I guess the character got introduced, he's strong, and, he cleared his name up with Rui that he wasn't doing something like that. So, it's good at the end of the day, but I just felt like it did not fit the theme of everything else. But that's pretty much about it. It's an okay episode of Domestic Girlfriend. I just wish Hina wouldn't be continuously shoved down my throat as the main female character that Natsuo has to end up with, because I just don't like her. I really don't like her. I don't like her interactions, how she's found an affair, how she's constantly misled Natsuo, and then she does what she did at the end of this episode. I'm just like, make up your mind. You just literally make up your mind at this point. Stop playing with the man's feelings, because I can already feel it now that she's going to turn around. It's like, oh no, I don't really care for you. You know, we need to stop. I can already see something like this happening. But that's pretty much about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below, because for some reason, even if you click the subscribe button, you don't always get notified. So if you do want to get notified for whenever a video is uploaded, please hit that bell icon down below. And this doesn't go just for me, it goes for all YouTubers on the platform. So even if you don't want to do it for me, do it for the YouTubers you care about, because it does help us out and it allows you to be notified for whenever a video is uploaded. So with that, I love you guys. Be safe. Chibi out.